Hey guys, my name's Alex and in this video I'm going to show you 10 different build styles, but in 10 different eras. So let's not waste any further ado and let's get to the start of the first build, which is this basically man house or man cave. And so we basically have a little livestock place here, for example, where the cavemen would actually kept their food. And they got a little area here where they had their little stock, and of course they got grass here. And I try to make this cave as very natural as possible. And then the very top bit here is, well, the living quarters. So obviously I have a bed here. This is supposed to be all brown, but I can't do much with that. I am on Bedrock Edition, so I don't have any data packs or anything to change that. And there's probably like a little bed for maybe an infant or something like that. And then we got like meat here, and like a carcass of an animal with a skull. So yeah, these guys probably hunted too. And that is pretty much it to show in this kind of cave house slash man cave. So the next build we go into is the desert house. Now the desert house, I honestly have a very mixed kind of opinion about this house. I've honestly kind of went back and forth if I get rid of the wood or keep it. I decided to keep it because I don't know, I think they'd have access to palm trees, correct? They probably would, the Egyptians. So in this Egyptian house, I'll give you a little exterior of this out here, but give you a little bit of context. So basically the Egyptians, well, they used to exist roughly 3,000 years ago. Or actually 5,000 if you're acquainting the fact that there's 2,000 years since AD. And obviously I want to definitely show that in the architecture. So this is again very basic building. You don't have a lot of very complex architecture here. And I'll also show you the inside. So the inside, we also have, well, we have a little kind of like spacious kitchen if you think about it. So we got a little cutting board, got some firewood, and we got a little stove that is probably used with this fire. So you know, firewood, because back then they didn't have gas-powered stoves quite yet. This, I don't exactly know what this could be used for, but it's got a bit more detail. This is probably a little sink where they put like actual buckets of water and they just put it in here. And then also kind of an open plan bedroom, but let's just say the doors are very good. And so we have a little like storage for, I know, personal belongings. So if we actually now go to the other side, which I know it's raining, I will change a bit later, but then we go to the other place, which is actually another place, but it's more for like a poorer person or someone who has less money to afford, let's say the room below us. So we got a much smaller kitchen. So look at this tiny kitchen. But I do like this little detail added here. Again, you got your basics. You got your firewood powered furnace, stove, you know. So you got a little chimney. You got a little storage. Probably like a little place to, you know, wash up your dishes. And this rock, which I don't know what this would be used for or is, but you know, detail. And then in here, we got pretty much the everything part of the house. We got the living room slash dining room slash bedroom slash study room. Boom, you got everything in one. And also this guy has a nice balcony. So this guy has a very nice view here, and let's just imagine if he had a great view of, let's say, the Great Pyramid of Giza, because honestly that would be a view to behold. So wouldn't you agree? So let's go move on to the next house, which is now, well, we're now roughly around 500 AD, so a lot further into the future. And now we got this very nice, fancy, very pristine, clean architecture. So you got quartz here. I don't think they actually use exactly quartz, because it'd be hella freaking expensive, and it'd be not this big. Like, quartz is pretty damn hard to get anyway. So it's a very nice slab-hinged area. So again, we got a little presence of roads here, or at least a way of carriage. You're like walking, and you know, maybe horses walking across this. And then we got a little outdoor area with a little pergola here. I might have wished putting like maybe vegetation here, but I decided to go with a clean look because kind of like that. So it's a bit small in here, and I'd say maybe it's one of my smallest builds, even compared to the next build I'll show a little bit later. But it has a really small interior with like literally the dining room here, kitchen here with nice granite top tables. Again, that firewood powered stove, got a little bit of shelves, a somewhat better plumbing sink. So, you know, they got better plumbing here. Got a little bit of storage. And let's go check out the outside. So again, we have like a nice lavished outdoor seating area. So we got these nice fancy seats. And, you know, maybe good stories are told here. Maybe about like how Pompeii was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius. Maybe. I don't know. But let's go to the upstairs, which, again, these stairs are pretty small. But, again, what can you do with a small area? I just want to make these builds so you can be able to actually maybe build them for yourselves. Like, I actually want maybe to inspire you guys to be able to build these yourselves. Because I don't want to make them massive so you guys will be, like, very discombobulated the idea that this maybe is way too hard to build. But these are pretty, like, they're not hard to build, but for me personally, because I'm not exactly a pro builder, I do have a fair share of experience how to build things in Minecraft. But these different like eras and how they built things back then in representation in Minecraft is a lot more difficult than it looks. Like, you can look at images and you can do all that, but the actual techniques and adding detail, and for example, having this little pot here means almost anything. Having a little chair here, little like carpet around the bed, you know, it just gives a little detail, almost a little bit of life to the build. So now we're roughly around the 1100s. So basically, you know, Vikings have already probably been to what? They've been pretty much everywhere. They've ransacked most of Europe at this point. Haven't they? Yeah, I bet they have. Yeah, I think so. If I know my history of England. So I actually built all these designs in a 20 by 20 area. Again, just to the size, but you know. So I kind of give this very good realism of what an actual house would look like. So we're actually going to enter the back this time. But in the back here, or in the house, it actually goes down a little bit, and this is probably a little bit historically accurate, but I'm not 100% sure. You might want to go fact check me in the comment sections down below. So it goes a very open spaced area. So we got a little dining table here, a big kind of father chair here. You know, dad would just sit here, and let's say he has some children and they're playing with, like, let's say wooden toys or something like that. Again, that'd be, you know, makes sense. I'd assume so. And then have this little little fireplace here with maybe a pot full of food or stew or something like that, and the little kitchen table. And finally, we also have the little bedroom here. So we have a little bed. Maybe this be a flower pot, but there's no flowers in it. And also, to keep you warm in the winter, you got the fireplace also on the other side too. So, you know, convenience sake. We also got this kind of wardrobe with some clothing as well, because they did probably change their clothes. So they have this kind of storage of more hay bales, and also this kind of tapestry maybe. Let's go to the medieval period, aka this is probably around, let's say, the 1500s. So now we actually got a lot bigger houses, and again, I almost tested the limits of what I could build out this 20 by 20 area. But this is basically equivalent to, let's say, having like a bar in London. And actually, ironically, this is known as Duke's Three Heads Bar. Again, don't question the name, just accept it, allow it. There you go. So out here we got this kind of cart here full of like supplies, maybe like extra bottles of like beer or ale or rum in that case, and then, you know, supplies in general. And then obviously, because maybe, you know, it's in the streets of London, and of course London back then in the 1500s weren't exactly the cleanest of states. So you got mossy stone, very messy brick paths, and again here, this is kind of the stuff I used for the build. But then they have this kind of like alleyway, and I couldn't really make it dark enough in here. But for example, a lot of gaps, a lot of holes, a lot of mess around here. You got moss growing in areas, water still being here after like maybe a rain. The street name probably, let's say, that way, and got more kind of like barrels of this water, you know, sewage. And then that is kind of mostly the exterior. And again, this is definitely a build that definitely found myself a lot more difficult to build due to the nature of, again, not building in this style very often. So I thank God I was able to do it, and add this little detail here, for example, of like a transition between the first floor and the second floor. So let's go into the interior now. So in the interior here, we obviously have a little rug here to maybe like dust off all the mud or, you know, the disgustingness of the streets outside. You got a little place to put your coats, or banners in this case, but again, use your imagination here. Got a little seating area here for maybe, I don't know, guests, depends here. And then got a little doorman, so, you know, just sitting here and just waiting for people to walk in and letting them in. And that's a cellar. You don't want to know what's down there. It's pretty weird, so don't go down there. As we make our way up here, there's obviously little decorations of some stuff here. And then we're in the bar. So again, yes, big hole. You can see the wool, the big wool wall. Yeah, that's a bit of a tongue twister right there. Say that 5 times in the comment section. So we got little bar stools here. Got a little nice area to take your drinks, maybe some ale again, you know, some alcohol. And then obviously the bartender will be here. Got some cups here, maybe some big mugs for like beer. Got a little place for maybe a bunch of alcohol bottles and stuff. And if we go back down, we have this nice big seating area. Alright, so of course over here we got a bit of a decoration. So I had a little shelf here with a wither skull. I had little flowers, books, storage, and these paintings here, because again it's kind of accurate at this point. I don't have TVs, don't have fancy stuff, you know. Also, for example, I found out that record players don't even existed back then, so I was gonna build one, but they didn't exist back then. So I decided to build a little stage here where maybe a guitarist or some musician would play here for like live music. Again, I don't know how many instruments that did exist back then, but I know Mozart definitely was a proud man of the piano. Alright, so I've got a little more decoration with this little pumpkin and a little coral here. And this is where the owner lives, in the attic. And it kind of makes sense where the owner has to live with the fact he has storage in his attic and he lives in the attic. But I think most people who own a shop, who live on the 2nd floor of their own building, would probably agree with the idea this is probably much accurate. They probably have a bunch of stock up here, and then they actually live in this little area. So they have a little bed, a little desk, well actually a big desk at that, nice window, you can like open these up and let some light in. Got a little table here, lectern, more firewood. I need that firewood. A barrel here, or maybe a trash can, a lantern, and then again, just good place for living, I guess, you know. Owning a bar is not exactly the easiest of jobs, especially back then, because people pretty much go to you constantly just to drink away their sorrows, you know. So this is pretty much it for this medieval house. So again, also I'll give you a little, I guess, a little sneak peek, sorta, is that the next design, or not the next design, but the next, I guess, 2 designs, eras I should say, will be the Victorian era and the steampunk era. So again, stay tuned for that episode. So again, these builds so far are really impressive, and honestly this is a very interesting experience that I've had so far. So again, join me for part 2 of this video. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe, it would help me out greatly. And don't forget, take it easy. Peace.